I still remember the exact moment it happened. I was thousands of miles away, serving my country, focused on staying alive and making it through each day. Every morning started the same. The sound of boots hitting the ground, the heavy weight of gear on my back, the constant reminder that I was in a place where nothing was certain. But one thing I thought was certain was my marriage. My wife back home, the woman I had promised my life to, the woman I believed was waiting for me, supporting me, cheering me on, even if only through letters and the occasional phone call. That belief kept me going, gave me strength when I felt like giving up. I thought I had someone in my corner, someone to return to, but I was wrong. One evening after a long day, I logged into my email. It was something I did whenever I got the chance. Those little messages from home made me feel connected to something beyond the dust and chaos around me. But that night, instead of encouragement or love, I saw a subject line that changed everything. We need to talk. I opened it, and in a few short sentences, my entire world shattered. She wrote that she no longer wanted to be married, that she had moved on, and that our relationship was over. No call, no discussion, no chance to fight for us. Just cold words on a screen. I sat there staring, reading it again and again, waiting to wake up from what had to be a nightmare. But it wasn't a dream. It was real. I tried to convince myself maybe it was just the stress. Maybe she was overwhelmed. Maybe this was something we could work through when I got home. But when I logged into our joint bank account, the final blow landed. The balance read 0. Every penny I had sent home from deployment, every dollar we had saved for our future was gone. She had taken it all. The money wasn't just numbers in an account. It represented every hour of sacrifice, every moment away from family, every ounce of blood and sweat poured into serving. And in one swift move, she drained it and left me with nothing. The betrayal burned deep. Out there, in the middle of danger, I felt more alone than ever before. It wasn't just about the money or the marriage. It was about trust, about being abandoned when I was most vulnerable. Anger replaced sadness. I kept asking myself how someone I loved could do something so cruel. But there was no answer, just emptiness. Still, something inside me sparked. I made a promise that night. I would survive, I would come back stronger, and I would rebuild. She thought she had ended me, but this was only the beginning. The weeks and months that followed dragged on. I carried the weight of betrayal with me. But strangely, it fueled me. Every push-up, every patrol, every sleepless night became a silent vow. I would not let her destroy me. When the day finally came that I boarded the plane home, I was filled with both dread and determination. I had no idea what waited for me, but I knew it was going to be a fight. Stepping back onto home soil, I quickly realized how much had changed. She had moved out of our home, leaving it empty and stripped of memories. Friends we once shared didn't know what to say. Some avoided me entirely. Others offered pity. I didn't want pity. I wanted a way forward. I found myself standing in an empty apartment with nothing but a duffel bag of clothes and my uniform. Everything else had been taken. It was rock bottom. And yet, strangely, it was freeing. With nothing left, I had nothing to lose. I started from scratch. A cheap apartment, a second-hand car, long shifts just to keep myself afloat. It was humbling, but each step forward reminded me I was still alive, still capable. The anger pushed me, but so did the vision of a future where I didn't just survive, I thrived. I poured my energy into work, took on extra hours, and invested time into building myself up physically and mentally. While she was out spending what she had taken, I was laying the foundation of a life she would never be part of again. The legal process began soon after. Divorce papers had to be filed officially. I gathered every email, every record, every receipt, and I presented them. In court, her betrayal was laid bare. The judge saw the truth. Not only was the divorce granted, but she was ordered to pay restitution. The irony wasn't lost on me. She had drained the account thinking she had won. But in the end, the law was on my side. That day in court felt like justice. But deep down, I knew my true revenge wouldn't come from money. It would come from living a life so much better than the one she left me in. With the restitution funds and the little I had saved, I started making smarter choices. I invested carefully, saved diligently, and focused on personal growth. Slowly, opportunities opened up. I found a better job, moved into a nicer place, and treated myself to things I had once thought impossible. I wasn't just building wealth, I was building peace. The pain that once consumed me turned into motivation. And that motivation turned into transformation. Years passed, and the life I once thought was destroyed grew into something new, something better. And then, one day, out of the blue, my phone buzzed with a message. Her name popped up on the screen. My chest tightened, but when I opened it, I almost laughed. The message was simple. Can we talk? For a moment, memories came rushing back. The betrayal, the emptiness, the rage, and then I smiled. I didn't need closure from her. I didn't need her apologies. I didn't need anything. I put the phone down and I never responded. My silence was the loudest answer I could give. That was the true payback. Not screaming, not fighting, not sinking to her level, just silence. The best revenge wasn't hurting her back. It was showing her she no longer had any power over me. She had left me broken, but I had rebuilt myself into someone stronger, happier, and more successful than ever before. Her betrayal was the end of one chapter, but it was also the start of a better one. And when I look back now, I realize the truth. Sometimes the greatest revenge is no revenge at all. It's moving on, healing, and living a life so full that those who betrayed you are left watching from the outside, regretting every choice they made. This is my story. From betrayal to emptiness, to rebuilding, to peace. I didn't just survive, I won. And that is the silent payback. When the court ruled in my favor, it should have been the end of the story. Papers were signed, restitution ordered, and legally, she was no longer part of my life. But divorce on paper doesn't mean divorce in your heart. Even with the judge's gavel echoing in my mind, I still felt the weight of everything she had done. Anger would flare up when I least expected it. Sadness would creep in during quiet nights, and sometimes I wondered if I'd ever truly move on. But then I realized something important. Healing wasn't about forgetting what happened. It was about choosing what I did next. At first, the struggle was real. Bills piled up faster than paychecks came in. I worked odd jobs, long shifts, anything to keep myself moving forward. I told myself every morning that the pain I felt was fuel, not a burden. Instead of letting it drag me down, I let it push me to rise. The money she stole could be replaced, but my pride and self-worth had to be rebuilt from the ground up. And so, brick by brick, I built a new foundation. I started taking classes after work, learning about finances and investments. Knowledge became my weapon. If money was once used to hurt me, I would make sure it would never be my weakness again. Slowly, my bank account grew. Slowly, my confidence grew. I wasn't just surviving anymore. I was planning. I was creating a future where betrayal couldn't touch me. During this time, I stayed off social media. I didn't want to see her life or compare mine to hers. But one day, a friend mentioned something in passing. She had burned through the money. Vacations, shopping, living large, the very money she drained from me was gone. And with it, her so-called new life started to crumble. I didn't need to see pictures to know it was true. The same impulsive choices that led her to betray me were now destroying her. Meanwhile, my own life was changing. My hard work paid off with a promotion, better pay, and more stability. I bought my first car outright. Not fancy, but mine. I moved into a small but comfortable home. For the first time in a long time, I felt proud when I looked in the mirror. I was no longer the man abandoned overseas. I was someone new, someone stronger. But then, as if fate couldn't resist one last twist, she reappeared. It started with a message, just a few words. "Hey, can we talk?" I stared at the screen, half laughing, half enraged. After everything, she thought she could just walk back in. Curiosity got the best of me, and I didn't respond right away. Instead, I let the message sit there like an unopened wound. Days later, another message came, this time longer. She said she missed me, that she regretted her decisions, that she realized she made a mistake. She asked if we could meet, just to talk. Reading those words, I felt the ghost of my old self stirring. The part of me that once loved her, that once trusted her, almost wanted to believe it. But then I remembered the coldness of her email, the emptiness of my bank account, the nights I spent alone rebuilding while she spent recklessly. And I knew I couldn't go back. Instead of replying, I closed my phone. Silence was my answer. That silence became my revenge. No arguments, no explanations, no second chances, just the absence of me in her life forever. I didn't need her to feel my anger. I needed her to feel my absence. Months passed, and life kept improving. I traveled for the first time on my own terms, not for deployment, but for freedom. I built friendships that were real, based on loyalty and respect. I invested more wisely, and my finances grew. And slowly, the memories of her betrayal stopped haunting me. She became just a chapter, a cautionary tale, a reminder of what I overcame. The best part was the peace. Not loud, not dramatic. Just quiet peace in knowing I had survived the storm and come out stronger. She thought she had broken me, but all she really did was set me free to build a life she could never touch. And that was the greatest revenge of all. Not the restitution, not the silence, but the success and peace I found after the pain. Because at the end of the day, revenge doesn't have to be about destroying the other person. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge is rebuilding yourself so fully that they are left watching, wishing they had never let you go. And that is how I moved on. From betrayal to silence, to peace to success, my story isn't just about loss. It's about transformation. It's about proving that no matter how deep the betrayal, you can rise, you can rebuild, and you can find healing. That is my silent payback.